Spring arrived gently at Hainal International High School, the kind of spring that felt like a promise. Cherry blossoms bloomed along the long stone pathway leading to the main building, their soft pink petals floating in the air like silent confessions. Students walked past them every morning, laughing, chatting, sometimes arguing, but always moving forward, unaware that some moments would later become memories they could never forget. Among those students was Han Jun, a quiet boy with sharp eyes and a thoughtful expression that made teachers believe he was always planning something important. In reality, Jun was simply observant. He noticed things others didn't, how the sky changed color just before rain, how chalk dust floated when a teacher erased the board, and how people smiled differently when they were truly happy. June sat by the window in class 11A, his desk perfectly aligned, books stacked neatly. He wasn't the top student, nor was he struggling. He lived somewhere in between, where expectations existed but pressure hadn't crushed him yet. Most of his classmates knew him as the calm guy, someone who didn't talk much but was always polite. What June didn't know was that this year, this exact semester, would quietly change his life. On the first Monday after spring break, the homeroom teacher walked in with someone new. "Class, we have a transfer student," the teacher announced, the room filled with whispers. A girl stepped forward, holding her bag tightly with both hands. She had long black hair tied in a simple ponytail, and her eyes, clear and slightly nervous, scanned the room. She wasn't trying to impress anyone, that was obvious. "My name is Lin Xiaoyu," she said softly. "I recently moved here." Her accent carried a gentle mix of Korean and Chinese, smooth but noticeable. June looked up. Something about her voice made him pause. The teacher smiled. "You can sit near the window, next to Han June." June froze for half a second. Xiaoyu walked toward the empty desk beside him, her steps careful. When she sat down, June could sense her nervousness, the way her fingers lightly gripped the edge of the desk. "Hi," he said quietly. "I'm Han June." She turned to him, surprised, then smiled, small but sincere. "Hi, nice to meet you." That was it. Two simple sentences. Neither of them realized that those words would echo in their hearts long after graduation. The first few days passed slowly. Xiao Yu barely spoke in class, focusing hard on her notes, sometimes asking the teacher to repeat things. June noticed she twice as hard as everyone else, writing everything carefully, as if afraid to miss even a single word. During lunch breaks, she usually ate alone. June didn't know why that bothered him. One afternoon, as he stood up to throw away his lunch tray, he noticed Xiao Yu struggling with the vending machine. It refused to accept her coins. He hesitated. Then he walked over. "Sometimes it gets stuck," he said. "You have to tap it here." He showed her. The machine beeped and a drink dropped. Her eyes lit up. It worked. She laughed softly, a sound like wind chimes. "Thank you," she said. "I was starting to think it hated me." June smiled just a little. From that day on, they started talking more. About homework, about teachers, about how confusing school schedules were. Nothing dramatic, just simple conversations. But sometimes simplicity carries the deepest meaning. They discovered they lived in the same direction. At first, they walked with a small distance between them, unsure of what to say. But silence between them didn't feel awkward, it felt peaceful. One evening, cherry blossom petals covered the sidewalk. Xiaoyu stopped suddenly. "In my old school, we didn't have trees like this." She reached out and caught a petal in her palm. "It's beautiful," she whispered. June watched her, the way her face softened. "Spring here feels special," he said. She nodded. "It feels like a beginning." Neither of them noticed how their hearts beat a little faster at that word. 2 weeks later, their teacher announced a group project. June and Xiaoyu were placed in the same group, along with 2 other classmates. They decided to meet in the library after school. As the others talked loudly, June and Xiaoyu worked quietly together. June explained concepts patiently, never making her feel slow or behind. Xiaoyu listened carefully, asking questions without fear. "You explain things clearly," she said. June shrugged. "You understand quickly," she smiled. That smile stayed with him all night. Later, when the others left early, the library grew quiet. Only the sound of pages turning remained. Xiao Yu looked up suddenly. "Joan, can I ask you something?" "Sure. Do you ever feel like school, not just about studying?" He thought for a moment. "Yes," he said. "Sometimes it's about the people you meet." She looked at him surprised. "I feel that too," she said softly. Outside, the sun began to set, casting golden light through the windows. For the first time, June felt something unfamiliar, warm, gentle, and slightly frightening. Days turned into weeks. They shared notes, walked home together, studied in silence. June noticed how Xiao Yu always tucked her hair behind her ear when nervous. Xiao Yu noticed how June tapped his pen when deep in thought. They never talked about feelings, but feelings don't need permission to grow. One rainy day, Xiao Yu forgot her umbrella. Without thinking, June held his over both of them. Their shoulders brushed, neither moved away. The world felt smaller under that umbrella. "Thank you," she said quietly. "You don't have to thank me," he replied. Their eyes met, and for a moment, the rain didn't matter. Not everything stayed perfect. One afternoon, Xiao Yu saw Jun laughing with another girl from class. They looked close, too close. Something tightened in her chest. She didn't know why. That evening, she walked home alone. The next day, she was quiet again. distant. June noticed immediately. Did I do something wrong? He asked after class. She hesitated, then shook her head. No, I'm just tired. But her eyes told a different story. June didn't push her. He just stayed. Sometimes caring means waiting. As summer approached, the school announced its annual cultural festival. Students would perform, decorate booths, and spend the whole day celebrating. Excitement filled the halls. You should join something, June said to Shioyu. She looked unsure. I've never performed before. You don't have to perform, he said. You could help with decorations. She thought about it. Only if you help too, she said. He nodded. Deal. Neither realized how important that festival would become. One evening, as they walked home, Xiaoyu stopped near the gate. June, she said, I'm glad I transferred here. He looked at her. Oh, so am I, he replied. She smiled, a little shy. That night, both of them lay awake longer than usual, thinking about the same thing. Something was changing, and neither of them wanted it to stop. The school slowly transformed as the festival approached. Colorful banners hung from the balconies. Classrooms buzzed with planning meetings, and laughter echoed through the corridors long after classes ended. Hanyul International High School felt alive in a different way, lighter, warmer. June and Xiaoyu were assigned to the decoration team. Every afternoon, they stayed back to paint posters, arrange lights, and plan layouts. Sometimes they worked in silence. Sometimes they talked about the smallest things, favorite foods, childhood memories, places they wanted to visit someday. Back in my old city, Xiaoyu said one evening while cutting paper flowers, I used to feel invisible. June looked up. You're not invisible here. She paused, her hands still. I know, she said softly. That's why this place feels special. June didn't respond. As days passed, their classmates started noticing. You two are always together, one girl teased. June stayed quiet. Xiaoyu smiled politely but felt her face warm. They weren't officially anything, and yet they were everything that mattered to each other. One afternoon, while hanging lights in the hallway, Xiaoyu lost her balance. June caught her instinctively, his hands steady on her arms. For a moment, time froze. They were close, closer than ever before. Sorry, she whispered. It was okay, he replied, not letting go immediately. Their eyes met, hearts racing. But then someone cleared their throat behind them, and the moment slipped away. Still, it stayed with them. The misunderstanding Xiaoyu felt earlier slowly grew heavier. One evening, she finally asked, Joan, that girl you were laughing with that day, she said carefully, she's someone important to you. June was surprised. Oh, you mean Mina, she's my cousin. She transferred temporarily. Your cousin. He nodded. Relief washed over her face before she could hide it. I see, she said, smiling awkwardly. June watched her, understanding dawning in his mind. Did that bother you? She hesitated. Then, honestly, she nodded. For the first time, June felt brave. I don't want you to feel uncomfortable, he said. Because you're important to me. The words hung in the air. Xiaoyu's breath caught. Important how? She asked softly. June didn't answer immediately, because sometimes feelings need the right moment. The night before the festival, Xiaoyu couldn't sleep. She sat by her window, watching the moonlight, thinking about June's words. Important to me. What did that mean? Her phone buzzed a message. June, did you finish your homework? She smiled. Xiaoyu, almost you. June, same. Don't forget to come early tomorrow. She typed slowly. Xiaoyu, I won't. Then she added one more line before she could stop herself. Xiaoyu, I'm glad I met you. There was a pause. Then his reply came. June, me too. More than you know. Her heart beat faster. That night, both of them fell asleep smiling. The festival morning arrived bright and clear. Music filled the air. Booths lined the courtyard. Students wore smiles wider than usual. Xiaoyu wore a simple white dress with a blue ribbon. Nothing fancy, but it suited her perfectly. When June saw her, he forgot how to breathe for a second. You look nice, he said. She smiled shyly. You too. They spent the day together helping visitors, laughing over small mistakes, sharing snacks. For a while, everything felt perfect. Until the performance announcement. Next, the announcer said, a special piano performance by Lin Xiaoyu. Xiaoyu froze. What? June whispered. She looked terrified. I didn't sign up for this. But her name echoed again. Someone had registered her, knowing she used to play piano. I can, she said. Everyone will watch. June took a step closer. You can. She shook her head. Xiaoyu. He said gently. Look at me. She did. You don't have to be perfect, he said. Just be you. Her breathing steadied. Slowly she nodded. Xiaoyu sat at the piano, fingers hovering over the keys. The crowd quieted. Then she played. The melody was soft, emotional, filled with longing and hope. Each note carried her feelings, her loneliness, her courage, her gratitude. June watched from the front row. He understood this song wasn't just music, it was her heart. When the final note faded, silence followed. Then applause, loud, genuine, overwhelming. Xiaoyu stood, bowing deeply. She looked at June. He was clapping the hardest. That evening, after the festival ended, the school grounds emptied slowly. Lanterns glowed softly. June and Xiaoyu stood beneath the cherry blossom tree near the gate. I was scared, she said, but when I saw you, I felt okay. June took a deep breath. This is the moment, he thought. Xiaoyu, he said. There's something I should have said earlier. She waited, heart pounding. You're not just important to me, he continued. You're special. She stared at him, eyes wide. I like you, he said. Not just as a classmate. Silence, then Xiaoyu smiled, a smile filled with relief, warmth, and happiness. I was hoping you'd say that, she replied. June Blair? She nodded. Because I like you too. For a second, neither moved. Then they laughed softly, the tension melting away. They didn't hold hands. They didn't hug. But standing there together felt enough. Life didn't suddenly become dramatic. They didn't change overnight. They still studied, still walked home, still argued about homework. But now there was something more, something gentle and reassuring. They sat closer, smiled more, understood each other without words. Their classmates noticed, but no one teased. It felt natural. Time passed faster than they expected. Summer turned to autumn, autumn to winter. Graduation loomed. The thought scared Xiaoyu. Will things change? She asked one day. June thought for a moment. Things always change, but feelings don't disappear that easily. She smiled. Promise. He nodded. Promise. Cherry blossoms bloomed again. Caps flew into the air. Xiaoyu and June stood side by side, diplomas in hand. We made it, she said. We did, he replied. They walked out of the school together just like they had on their first day. Same path, different hearts. Years later, June would still remember that spring, the petals, the umbrella, the piano melody. Xiaoyu would remember the quiet boy by the window who taught her that love didn't need grand gestures. Sometimes it just needed time. And sometimes school love stories don't end at school. They simply begin there. T-She-E-N-D.